So, I know everybody is talking about the 2025 lock-in era, which I kind of love. I love this idea of taking the last part of the year and really getting focused and motivated so that we're not waiting for January 1st to be like this, like bursting out into new focus and motivation. Because actually, I think I heard someone say, January 1st would be the middle of the winter. And that might be more of like a calm or sort of like coming into yourself reflective period, and so we expect a lot on January 1st. Now I get to that fall has this sort of cozy energy, and I think there's a way where we can do this lock-in period sustainably. Like, what if this, instead of being this sprint at the very last end of the year and then you'll fall off on January 1st instead of setting a New Year's resolution, what if this instead was a catalyst? This was an experimental period where you get to figure out what is going to work for me. It's like, yes, maybe I want to get more into fitness. Maybe I want to focus more on my business. Maybe I want to, expand my socializing. So what if this part of the year was my time where I got to try out what's really going to work for me and figure out what the sustainable plan is? Like, yes, you could take a couple hours and write out a plan that you're going to try to force yourself to do. But if you're anything like me, if you're not actually figuring out what's sustainable for you, then that's not going to last. It probably won't even last for this lock-in period. You'll just be one of the many people that fall off of it, and sure, that one creator did it. Good for them. But let's actually make this something that is a catalyzing force for something new. Because obviously this whole 2025 lock-in period is resonating with people because we want change, we want something more. And so I just want to couple this idea of focus and discipline and motivation with sustainability. And instead of it really being just about behavioral change, the key, I think, for sustainability is focusing on your identity. Like, you're shifting your identity. And for me, with Living Yesfully, where yes stands for your energetic signature, you're really coming home to what your authentic signature energetically is. And I like to think about this as, if I have a dream of something really amazing and great, that is energetically almost like a memory. Like, there's a part of me that knows this is possible, and maybe that's actually way more real for me than the thing I hate that's happening right now. Right? So tuning in and focusing in and realizing that as someone who creates our reality, right? That understands energy and that we create our reality, then your energetic signature is what you create to be, what you choose, what you decide, what you have commanded into your reality. So let's focus on that. Yes, there will be opportunities to develop new habits and to get ourselves locked in, right? But we're going to start from the energetic sphere. We're starting from locking in our energy, locking in our mindset, locking in our focus of who we are identifying ourselves to be. Then things flow from that. And we can absolutely build in the behaviors that mirror and that flow naturally from our new identity. So this is how I'm approaching it. If you want to join me on this in this way, if this really resonates with you, then let's do this. Join me on this channel here, because we're going to be doing this lock-in period from an identity frame and also from a place of sustainability. One thing I know about sustainability, especially when it comes to habits and creating new or different behaviors, is that we not only energetically, right, like how I was talking about before, but physically, energetically. So our physical energy can help to inform us, is something we can take into account, and that doesn't make us bad or wrong. Like, maybe you're like me and you're in your late 30s. You're like, okay, yeah, the young 20-year-old can do a lock-in period different than me, but I'm going to do it in a way that actually honors me because I've already experienced burnout and I'm not interested in doing that again. So one of the things you can do is create like sort of graded habits, or like graded, what would you call them? They're not so much goals as they are just like daily expectations or daily rhythms. There we go. we'll say rhythms, where you have sort of an understanding of what does a low energy day version of this thing, right? So maybe you'll start with my normal day, this is my energy normally, and so the thing that I want to create as my habit can look like this, right? Maybe it's exercise and you're like, okay, if I'm starting out on that, and like for me, I'm using online, videos I love. Wait, I just lost it. What's their name? I just watched it this morning. I'll put it here somewhere, but I love them because there's never any repeating, and my ADHD brain could never with a freaking exercise video that just keeps asking you the same thing over. No, if it's gonna hurt, I at least want variety. So, what were we talking about? Right, graded rhythms. Right, so if I understand what my normal energy is gonna look like, then maybe the fitness goal could be doing my 30-minute video every day, right? So on those normal days, this is what it looks like. 30 minutes of this. I also kind of like to build in a walk during the day. So I go for a walk, I do my exercise video. If I get other things in, maybe like mobility things, great, cool. So that's normal, right? High energy day would be like, okay, let's go for a really long hike and do, my strength training and whatever else feels fun that day, right? So that's my understanding of this is high energy, because there's going to be high energy days, there's going to be normal energy days, and then there's going to be low energy days. And this is not where we punish ourselves and then eventually burn out and not create a sustainable habit. This is where we have the bare minimum would look like this then. So like if my normal day is a 30-minute or 20 or 30-minute, YouTube video where I'm doing strength training and things like that and a walk, then my bare minimum could be, okay, just do the walk because I love the nature. And I'll know I'll at least do that. Or will be do some yoga or something a little more calm. I mean, some yoga is very like strength. Maybe doing some yin yoga and going for a walk, so that you've got this more gentle version for those days when you just cannot get yourself to do the normal thing. Because when you do a lock-in where you are expecting perfection and you're just trying to go all in for 90 days or whatever, and then you have that one day where you fall off, you feel like you failed the whole thing because your expectation was perfection and that was never possible. So let's actually make this sustainable. And how we do that, we understand our energy might fluctuate, and that's okay. And could be really great. That's just all part of life, and especially for those of us that deal with hormones of certain types. You're going to be fluctuating. You're going to have a period of the month where your energy is just not there. So what if you actually built that in as part of your sustainable lock-in, your sustainable rhythms? So yes, this is how I'm doing it. I will take you along this journey, and I hope you join me in this way so that we can both focus on our energetic signature, which is our identity that we are choosing and stepping into, and remembering that we get to have associated with our greatest dreams, and the sustainability around knowing that I can have sort of a graded or flexible rhythm that honors how I'm actually feeling. And I get to that you don't want to be overrun by your mood and your emotions. Absolutely. And so it really could be also an opportunity to get that discernment as you move through the next 3-4 months, right? Of when is it my mood, my mind doesn't want to do it? When is it my physical body actually needs rest? And I think that's actually a really great thing to begin to develop, because having that attunement to yourself is powerful. And I think it helps you to know that you can trust yourself more. When I'm just trying to ignore my physical body will revolt at some point. And you'll go into chronic fatigue versus just the fatigue that might have normally happened because you needed rest. You'll have physical pain, you'll have autoimmune issues, all sorts of things. But if I'm actually tuning in, cool, my body knows that it can trust me, and therefore maybe it will actually receive deeper rest, deeper relaxation, because it's not on edge. What are you going to force me to do next? So this is, I think, the best way to do this. I'm going to be doing this this 2025 season. And also, I've decided to make content in a different way because I was showing up on this channel kind of thinking like, I've got to have the most perfect thing to say, and it's got to be all in this teaching mode and all those things. And it just wasn't working. Like, people weren't watching it. I wasn't feeling good about it. I was feeling like I was avoiding it because I was also in the back of my mind thinking, I just don't know what to say and blah, blah. So I really love this format a lot better, where I just want to talk about from like a really authentic place, like what am I looking at? What am I focusing on? And how this relates to what I want this community that we build over time to be about, right? Which is showing up authentically, which is going after our dreams, which is giving ourselves permission first. Because Living Yesfully, when I first started it, like especially was around this idea of you have to say yes to you first. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for someone else to validate you. You are validating yourself. And that's going to always be the core, I think, of this work. Really, of living yesfully, is you allowing yourself to be here. Like, you don't have to wait anymore. And I used to feel this, like, even when I was a child, you know, I used to be like, I don't know, like 12 or something, and I would pick up a 17 magazine from back in the, do they still run? I don't know. And I'd read some article about like some 11-year-old kid, right? I was 12 and they were 11 or younger than me in some way. And they had already saved all the turtles in Florida. I don't know, something like that, right? They did something really cool. And I was like that young going, oh, I've missed out my chance. I'm so behind. It's like, come on. You are not behind. You are not waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to be here. You are not waiting for perfection. You are enough right now. So stop telling yourself that story. I am now 39. I am knocking on the door of 40. And actually, I've decided my lock-in period is getting my freaking life together by 40. So I have longer than just the end of the year, thankfully. But you know, leave it to the person with ADHD to have some goal, like, I'm getting my shit together by 40, and then wait till like 39 and a quarter, or however old I am. Deadlines can be your friend. So, anyways, what are we talking about? Yes, you giving yourself, you saying yes to you first. So, let's start with that. In this 2025 lock-in period, what are you saying yes to for yourself first? How are you going to do this in a way that's actually honoring of you, that you actually know is going to be sustainable for you, and letting it be an experiment? Maybe you could say yes to that. This gets to be an experiment. I'm not going to be this perfect lock-in person and, you know, lose 1 million pounds or whatever. Like, are you going to say yes to you? Are you going to let this be authentic to you? Are you going to let this be sustainable, which is authentic to you? So, because that actually means that you actually believe in yourself. When you shoot for perfection, I feel like there's an element in there of you not actually believing in yourself, because you know perfection is impossible. So you're shooting for something that's impossible so that you will fail because you don't actually believe you can do it. So I think if we let go of this freaking perfectionism, we're actually choosing ourselves and our dreams and believing in ourselves. I think that's true. Yeah. Okay. Join me here for this thing that we're doing. And thank you so much. I'll see you again soon.